If you're a driving enthusiast looking to buy a German muscle car, it's pretty hard to beat a Mercedes-Benz with the AMG badging on it. For decades, Falterbach has been turning regular Benzes into batshit crazy performance machines, and about 5 years ago, the company expanded the AMG GT family with the introduction of a four-door version called the AMG GT four-door. This vehicle is built on a heavily modified E-Class architecture, and for 2024, AMG is also ready to introduce the most powerful production vehicle ever with the introduction of this model. This is the 2024 AMG GT 63 SE Performance, and what that essentially means is we have that 4-liter twin-turbo V8 under the hood, augmented by a powerful rear electric motor that delivers up to 831 horsepower. So as you can see this week, Mercedes has loaned us the most powerful version of the AMG GT four-door in this beautiful color called Disegno Olive Metallic. And the big question I want answered, for those of you who are looking for the ultimate AMG four-door, should you put this new GT 63 SE Performance at the top of your list? Stay tuned to find out. So before we start talking about the slightly updated styling of the AMG GT four-door, I thought I'd pop the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing, because as you guys know, AMG builds a lot of crazy performance vehicles. So when this car came out, I have to say I was blown away by the specs of this thing. Now underneath the hood, you're gonna find an engine that you should be pretty familiar with if you guys love AMG products. This is the company's signature 4-liter twin turbocharged direct injection double overhead cam V8. It's known as the M177 internally. You can see just like every other AMG 63, this vehicle's engine is handcrafted by Marcel over at their Germany plant at Mercedes-AMG. So a thank you so much for such a beautiful engine. And this engine on its own delivers 630 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque. Of course, it has two electric motors. There's one electric motor that serves as an integrated starter motor generator that runs off of the 400-volt architecture, plus a separate rear electric motor that delivers up to 201 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque on its own. Combined, Mercedes-AMG says, again, this is the most powerful production engine they've ever delivered, giving you up to 831 horsepower and 1,032 pound-feet of torque. That's right, this car has over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. It all goes out through a 9-speed MCT, a multi-clutch transmission. The rear electric motor is interesting because it also has a separate 2-speed automatic for just that rear electric motor. The electric motor draws its power from a 6.1 kilowatt-hour battery pack. About 4.8 of that is usable. The EPA says this thing can go 1 mile on electric range. 1 mile. That's not the electric range is not the point of a vehicle like this. It's designed to deliver, again, an extra 201 horsepower over the regular AMG GT 63S, which technically they don't offer the E-Performance here in America for 2024 because this now sits at the top of the pecking order. If you guys don't want the plug-in hybrid, you can just go for a 63 non-S that delivers 577 horsepower from this V8. So it's a pretty significant downgrade in power. So obviously this is going to give you lots of additional performance. For performance, 4MATIC all-wheel drive system is going to be standard. It has a rear drive bias along with a limited slip rear differential. And fuel economy, in case you're wondering, is 18 mpg combined when you have the battery depleted. That's actually 1 mpg better versus the regular V8. So again, not much better fuel efficiency, but way more performance. If you have the battery charged, the EPA says you'll get around 25 mpg-E, which really doesn't make sense to me at all because it's the mpg equivalent to electricity usage, which is measured in kilowatt hours. Now, it has a 19-gallon fuel tank, so you're looking at around 320 miles of range on a full tank. That's on premium gas, obviously. This is the most powerful production AMG ever, which means it's one of the quickest. 0 to 60 happens in just 2.9 seconds. The only thing that's quicker is the 2-door version of this, which also has the E-Performance badge, but it has less power. AMG says that'll do it in 2.7 seconds. This car has a top speed of 194 miles an hour, so almost 200 miles an hour. And of course, with all the electric motor componentry, this is the heaviest version of the four-door, coming in at just under 5,300 pounds. But let's go ahead and close up this hood here and talk about the exterior styling. First of all, this color, Disegno Olive Metallic, is $6,500 extra. It's absolutely stunning. In fact, everybody who sees the car literally tells me the color is probably their favorite part. So it could be worth the additional $6,500 if you guys want a unique color. The front fascia of this car is instantly recognizable as a Mercedes. You can see the AMG GT four-door is available in 43, 53, 63, and of course 63 SE Performance. All of them have a slightly updated front end. You can see the grille has the classic classic Panamericana style AMG grille with the vertical chrome slats, the big Mercedes logo front and center that houses the radar sensors for the adaptive cruise. You have a slightly different front air intake opening where it's a little bit enlarged. It kind of takes the styling cues here from the new two-door, which was introduced this year. You also have the first AMG to get the Halterbach badge there on the actual front fascia as opposed to the three-pointed star. Love that. I also just saw that on the new C63S, which technically I believe was the second vehicle. You can see this also has the multi-beam full LED headlights with the digital light projection. You have LED low and high beams, LED turn signals, LED daytime running lights. You have some more aggressive openings down at the lower fascia along with the silver accents. My test car is missing, I believe, the upgraded night extended package, which will black out some of the silver that you see at the front end. But I actually think this car still looks good today. I mean, even though it's been on the market for 5 years, AMG has kept this car looking very distinctive, very sleek, very muscular, but also slightly curvy. I mean, I think this car looks so much better versus the other new Mercedes products like the C-Class, the S-Class, and the E-Class, for example. Moving around the side profile, this four-door is a big car. Although it's not quite as big as the S-Class, it is longer than an E-Class at 199 inches long in the overall length with a 116.2-inch long wheelbase. This vehicle is also around 78 inches wide, so it's a pretty wide and low car as well. You can see my test car has the optional forged 21-inch twin 5-spoke wheels with kind of like an aerodynamic lip. You can see it has the AMG badge. It has a machined 2-spoke look to it. Along with these Michelin Pilot Sport 4S summer performance tires, you have a 275 by 35 R21-inch front wheel, along with a fatter 315/30 R21 rear tire. So staggered wheels, and then you can see the E-Performance also includes the massive carbon ceramic brakes clamped down by 6-piston calipers. Love the copper painted brake calipers as well. Those rotors, I believe, are around 17 inches. So again, some serious brakes because this vehicle is super heavy. It needs the serious stopping power. You have an adaptive air suspension, obviously, all independent. This vehicle also includes 4-wheel steering as well. The rear wheels can turn up to 2.5 degrees. Now you can see, sadly, there is a fake vent over here. I really wish that AMG had made this real. Love the badging here, V8 bi-turbo E-Performance. So those of you who are upset with the C63S E-Performance, which has a 4-cylinder, buy one of these. It has a V8. Of course, it's going to cost you. I kind of wish that Mercedes-AMG would put this engine in the new C-Class as well. You can see the mirrors, power folding, integrated turn signals, cameras surrounding the mirrors, the vehicle as well. Love how it's body colored. This panoramic glass roof, as you can see, is optional. It doesn't open up to vent air, but it does let in some light over the front and rear seats, which is nice. Again, the night package would also black out the chrome and the silver accents along the side profile, but I think it looks really good with the actual green color and the wheels. This car in general just is stunning. Everywhere it goes, it attracts attention. It just looks low, it looks wide, it looks aggressive, it looks sporty. It just really screams performance, but also an elegant luxury that you expect from Mercedes-Benz. Now looking at the rear, you can see full LED taillights. This taillight design, love the super skinny LED. I'm surprised Mercedes doesn't do like a sequential turn signal look to it. You do have some fake vents over to the side here. I love this rear spoiler that pops in and out. You can also push a button to make it deploy or stay up or down. It also pops up at speed. It looks fantastic. Mercedes also will offer you a fixed rear wing if you guys go for the aerodynamics package. You can see this is how you'll know that this is the 63S because it has a red branded area for the badging. That's how you know you have the plug-in hybrid along with the S badging here. Remember, for 2024, you can't get a or an S without the plug-in hybrid aspect. You can see down here the exhaust system, the signature quad outlet exhausts, which are rectangular. The engine sounds amazing. AMG does great sounding V8, so let's go ahead and fire it up. You can hear how it sounds. So again, if you guys are disappointed with the new C63S with its 4-cylinder, buy one of these because you still thankfully get a V8. Now in terms of the rear, you can see this is where you're going to plug the vehicle in because this is a plug-in hybrid. You can see there's the J1772 plug. This vehicle has a 3.7 kilowatt onboard charger, which means with that super small battery pack, like I said earlier, 1 mile of electric only range is what the EPA says. I was actually showing around 9 miles on the trip computer. We'll talk about what it actually gets in the real world during the driving scene. This vehicle will take about an hour to charge on a level 2, or if you just put it into race or sport mode, the car can actually charge the battery up with the engine in about 10 minutes. Most of you, I imagine, are going to do that. The plug-in aspect of this car, I think, is just for emissions and for regulations because it helps this car avoid the gas guzzler tax, so that's the reason why it's a plug-in. And you can also theoretically, opportunity charge whenever you find a free public charger at your favorite grocery store or mall. Push that button there, you can see it opens up the tailgate. This is actually a liftback, a hatchback, which I really love. However, the battery pack back here does raise up the floor in that area. So it actually loses about, you actually lose about a cubic foot of trunk space, but you still have a pretty usable 11.8 versus 12.7. Those seats still fold down in it looks like a 40-20-40 arrangement. There is a little bit of underfloor storage over here, just a smidge, along with a fix-a-flat kit and an air compressor, so there's no spare tire. You can fold those seats down to expand the cargo capacity, but overall, you can see this is still much more practical versus a sedan, but you're gonna find a little bit more space in something like the Audi RS7, for example, or I believe even the Porsche Panamera, at least the Sport Turismo version would also have more space, although technically you can't get that anymore from Porsche for 2025. So one of the factors why Mercedes-AMG can feel so special is the fact that you can get them with a multitude of different unique colors. In fact, these colors are basically known as almost like individual colors. So earlier we showed you guys the Disegno olive metallic color, which is a beautiful dark green. However, right now we actually had a chance to grab this China blue version of the AMG GT four-door because we're out here in Portland, Oregon. You can see this China blue paint is an extra $6,500 extra, just like the Disegno olive. It looks fantastic, of course, along the lines of the AMG GT. This is missing the night package, however, which will kind of black out some of the accents that you see here on the front splitter. There's the Pan America style grille with the vertical chrome slats. Those full LED headlights still look really good. And overall, I really liked that Disegno olive, but I actually, now that I'm seeing this China blue in person, I actually think it might be my preferred choice. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys actually think looks better in terms of the color combination. Unlike the Disegno olive back in Pennsylvania, you can see this model has the 21-inch matte black AMG forged cross wheels. You can see it's also on the same 275 by 35 tire. This kind of black matte finish wheel I think also looks good with the China blue. You can also get these wheels obviously on the Disegno olive. But personally, I actually think I prefer the brighter machine look of the polished wheel that you have on the olive version. You can see with the gold painted brake caliper, it just looks really good along the lines of this vehicle. You still have that glass roof panel, obviously. And then as you guys notice, looking inside the vehicle, we're just gonna show you a quick little difference with the color combination. You can see this is the upgraded white and black two-tone premium Napa leather interior. These are an extra $3,500 for the seats. You can see unlike the green one, which has kind of like a brown saddle tan interior, this white is just the perfect color combination. You can see the white carries over along the door panels, along the seats, along the rear seats, along the steering wheel even, although that, while it looks good now, that probably will look like crap after a few years, especially if you don't keep the leather clean. But overall, you know, with these kind of unique Disegno colors, it really makes the AMG GT feel a lot more special. So let me know in the comment section below if you guys prefer the olive green or this China blue exterior color combination. So on the outside of the current AMG GT four-door, this obviously still has a stunning design to it, but what about the interior? Before we get inside, however, let me show you guys the key fob. You can see this is the current Intelligent Access key fob from Mercedes-Benz. It has the AMG logo on it. It has usual buttons here for lock, unlock, power liftgate, and panic feature. You can also log into your Mercedes Me app and use your smartphone as a key, I believe, or you can also remote start the vehicle as well. As I approach the outside, unlike the newer Benz products, which have those pop-out retractable door handles, this is a traditional one. You can see, touch that little area there, that will lock the door. The mirrors will also electrically fold in, which I like. And then if you touch the back, that unlocks the door for you. And checking out my particular test car, whoever spec'd this out did an amazing job because I love the signature Disegno olive exterior color. It pairs amazingly with the sienna brown and black two-tone full Napa leather interior. This interior is a $3,600 upgrade if you guys want this full leather interior with the sienna brown covering the steering wheel as well, which I think looks really nice. And my test car also has for another $2,800 the matte carbon fiber trim along the door panels, along the dash. You have beautiful leather stitching along the upper portion here with contrast stitching, leather over here, beautiful metal controls for the window switches, for the power mirror controls, nice and padded with leather actually covering the lower portion here. And you also have a nice carpeted material in there. Your fuel release door and trunk release door is right there. And you even have these really plush looking carpeted floor mats. And you better, because this car is well over the six-figure price tag, but it makes a great first impression. Now, getting inside, you can see the step-in is typical sedan low, but once you're inside, it definitely has a very nice, you know, cockpit driver-oriented feel. As I shut the door, The door has a pretty solid sounding thunk. Sadly, my test car is missing the soft close feature, which is an extra $350, which my test car doesn't have. Now, starting the vehicle up, you can see start stop button is right here where you'd expect it to be. And what's interesting is because of the fact that this car is a plug-in hybrid, so there's no engine starter noise. Instead, the ready sign just shows up in the instrument panel, and that's how you know the vehicle is on, which is kind of crazy to think. If you start messing with the drive modes, you can clearly turn on the engine there and go all the way into the race mode, which at that point you can hear the engine, and it's a nice sound. I love the fact that this car still uses a V8, not like a silly 4-cylinder in the C63 AMG. Now, looking at the rest of this interior, you can see the dash has a beautiful leather area here with contrast stitch covering with leather there, more of that matte carbon fiber. Leather again around this portion, along with this piano black plastic trim. The steering wheel is a power tilt telescoping. It's also a heated wheel. You have paddles to control the 9-speed transmission. You have the newer AMG steering wheel with the touch sensitive controls here to control that screen and control this screen over here, along with your adaptive cruise. I also love the drive mode selector. This is very Porsche, where you can adjust the drive modes from here and from here as well. So you have two different areas where you can adjust that. You can also pop the spoiler in and out, along with adjusting the suspension over here. The horn, it sounds pretty much what you'd expect. Nothing distinctive sounding, but appropriately sized for the vehicle in general. I also love the dashboard design with the 4 circular vents here, the additional circular vents for the driver and the passenger. And then you can see here the infotainment system. All AMG GT 4-doors will come with the dual 12.3-inch display. So there's a 12.3-inch display here. And then you have the latest version of MBUX over here in the center. This was added last year, where they finally added wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Before, you had to plug in your phone via a wired connection, and it only took up about 3/4 of the screen size when you had it in CarPlay. Now, as you can see, it takes up the entire display, which I really like. The CarPlay itself is pretty nice to look at. It's easy to use. It's quick and snappy and responsive. You can see there's not the newest software from the E-Class, but it's the one from the C-Class, and it certainly will get the job done. There are a series of apps where you can access a couple of streaming music services, including Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon Music, which I really much appreciate. And then, of course, you can go into your navigation, which, as you can see, the GPS in the latest Mercedes products looks basically the same as Google Earth. This is a huge upgrade that I didn't realize Mercedes just did. The factory embedded GPS is pretty much as nice as what you're going to find on your computer. So love the fact that they have added that, along with their augmented reality GPS, which is something that we've seen for a few years now. Going into the comfort setting over here, this is where you can access the massage. My favorite is the activating massage. You can also change the intensity. You can also turn on the seat kinetics as well. That basically adjusts the seats every few minutes to make sure you aren't as fatigued. There's also the dynamic contour, multi-contour seat, which these bolsters will inflate and deflate whenever you turn in the same in a direction. So that bolster will inflate and deflate to kind of keep you positioned in the seat, which I really much love. The ambient lighting also is intricate in this vehicle. You can change it from multiple different colors and themes, and it just looks like a nightclub at night, although it's not quite as overwhelming as like the new S-Class, for example. I love that. There's a performance pages and a track pages over here, but overall this infotainment system is definitely, I actually prefer it over the newer MBUX systems. You can see, put it into reverse, there's a full 360 camera with a top-down view. It also has trajectory, cross-traffic braking, all that stuff that you expect with front and rear parking sensors. The quality and the resolution of the display is good. I mean, you can also do like a curb view there. You can also change it to an expanded front or rear view. So that's all pretty much what you'd expect it to be. Down here, you will notice that this center console is wide. It definitely eats into your space here between the two front seats. Love the matte carbon fiber. I also love the actual hard buttons over here and toggles, which is nice. Open this up, you can see there's 2 USB-C charging ports. You have 2 cup holders here, a little bit of storage along with a 12-volt power outlet. There's also some more traditional buttons, shortcut buttons over here. This is actually kind of a touchpad. As you can see, when I touch that, it kind of will highlight what I'm touching and show you right there before I click in. There's also that touchpad right here. If you guys don't want to use the touchscreen, you can also use this as like a little mouse pad. And then you can see here, there's a drive mode selectors here where you can adjust the drive mode here. There's basically comfort, electric, sport, sport plus, and race. Individual. Your volume control is over here. It's a toggle. You can adjust the spoiler, the sound, the suspension, the stability control. This also used to be where the gear selector was. I think last year they must have gotten rid of this. It's now just a little rest for whenever you want to use this touchpad. Your gear selector is now located here, where it should be like other Benz products. Push up to go to reverse, push down to go to drive, push the end of the the stalk there to go put it into park. very easy to use. Love the leather stitching along this portion here. This is where your knees might hit. You have a nice padded area over here. Although I will say that positioning is good for me, but I had my spouse sitting over here on this side, and he was telling me that his elbow kind of hits this area here, so try that out for yourself, make sure it works. This is not the deepest center console area. You do have a wireless phone charging pad right there, which is kind of inconvenient to use, I would say, but it's nice and padded over here. Of course, the seats are, for the most part, comfortable and supportive, although I did notice the seat bottom cushion is a little bit on the firmer side. These bolsters do hug you in place nicely. I also love the way the seats look with the AMG badging here and here. Again, these are heated and ventilated and massaging. You have 3-person memory on that side, along with 20-way power adjustable seats. I also love how you have actual hard buttons for the heated and cooled seat controls, which is nice. You can see, adjust all your seat controls here. The Burmester sound system, this is not the upgraded Burmester, it's the standard one. It sounds pretty good, but again, you can spec in an even higher end one, but it'll get rid of the panoramic sunroof, which, as you can see, once I open that up, it does let in some more light, but this doesn't actually open up to vent air. And there's a bar here. I'm surprised there is a bar here. I kind of just wish it was one continuous piece. The glove compartment, you can see it's a bin style, or I'm sorry, it goes into the dash. It has a lid that's damped but not lined with felt. My test car is missing the air fragrance package, so it doesn't have that perfume that wafts into the interior that creates a really nice smell, which I highly recommend adding that option. But overall, the interior is certainly a wonderful place to spend time. High build quality, great technology and features. Feels a little bit snug, feels more like a driver's car. Some competitors have a more open and airy feeling cabin, but overall, I think this interior is still one of the nicest interiors you're gonna find in its class. But let's go ahead and hop into the backseat area of the GT 4-door, because my test car for 3,500 bucks has an executive rear seat package. Now, it does limit you to only seating 2 back here. You can get an option which will give you a center seat. As you can see, the seats themselves, they look very impressive. Love the sienna brown leather interior back here. They don't have legroom figures for the back seat, but I would probably estimate this car has around 36 inches of legroom. It's not a lot. Clearly buy an S-Class if you guys want a bigger back seat. I do love the leather back here with the matte carbon fiber. You have 3-level heated seats, but no cooled seats. Surprisingly, for 3,500 bucks, it should include cooled seats in the rear along with massaging seats, but it doesn't include that. Padded leather here, and you have beautiful carpeting inside that door panel. But once I get back here, you can see you do have to duck your head because of that roof. All right, sorry guys, there was a spotted lanternfly that flew in here, but anyways, shut the door. You can hear the door has a pretty solid sounding thunk like the front. It doesn't have a soft close feature, sadly, and you can see there's no manual retractable shades, or power ones should be included considering I paid $3,500 for the executive rear seat package. Now you can see this is where I have the front seat to drive. The legroom space here is not bad, but it's not great either. I was expecting more considering how big this car is. There's good foot space. You can kind of sit here and cross your legs, but again, you feel like you're sitting in bucket seats because these seats, they do have more aggressive bolstering to hold you in place during cornering, which is nice. You do have rear seat air vents. You have 3-zone climate. It should be 4 considering it's the executive rear seat package. More of that matte carbon fiber and the piano black plastic trim. What's interesting are these cup holders. They are heated and cooled, but the seats aren't cooled. So I would have actually traded this to get ventilated seats. It really should include both at this point. This center console here is fixed. You have a nice padded area here. Open this up, you can see it looks like 3 USB charging ports and an actual 110 power outlet in here. And you also have a wireless phone charging pad right here. That's part of that rear seat executive package. You do have a really nice badging here with the AMG badge and stitched into the actual leather here. And in terms of the headroom space, you can see headroom. It's not horrible, but it's definitely not going to be great if you're over 6 feet tall. Again, I think at this price point, you should have retractable sunshades in the front and the rear. You should have ventilated seats and even massaging seats. So overall, I probably would skip the executive rear seat package and just go for a traditional 3-person bench back here, considering that the space is not really great compared to some rivals. So it's been a couple years since I've been behind the wheel of the 4-door version of the Mercedes-AMG GT. As you guys know, Mercedes has a lot of confusing different models in their lineup, and what this is basically the ultimate 4-door super sedan from the performance division over at AMG. Remember, there's an AMG 2-door and an AMG 4-door. The 2-door was just recently reintroduced as an all-new version. This is still based off of a model that came out in 2019, which is technically built off of the previous generation E-Class. Now, the E-Performance that we're driving here is also the most powerful production vehicle that AMG has ever put into production, with 831 horsepower from its 4-liter twin-turbo V8 and a powerful 201 horsepower electric motor. This should deliver, in theory, what AMG says, 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. Now, I suspect that number is conservative. But we are starting off, of course, with a full charge. Remember, this has a really small 4.8 kilowatt usable lithium-ion battery pack. To access the launch control, which they call race start, you have to put it into race mode, and it's really easy to do. You basically just put it into race mode, you brake torque it until it says race start, and then you hold on for dear life. So let's see what we can get here. Oh God. 2.77 seconds. Holy shit. Oh my God. 2.77 seconds. Now, I expect it to be faster than what AMG claims. This is just otherworldly. I mean, obviously, with the additional electric motor assist and over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, the extra weight that this, setup gives you is kind of erased when you activate the race start. This is just absolutely bonkers fast. I mean, it's almost unnecessary fast. My stomach was left in the back seat because I literally couldn't catch my breath of how fast this car is. It's just absolutely stupid fast. But I remember I got my first taste of the e-performance thing like back in or earlier this year for the C63. Let's try it again here just because we can. 2.73 seconds there. That's actually with it more going slightly uphill. I'm gonna try it one more time up ahead there and see if we actually can dip a little bit faster than that, because remember, this car also has all-wheel drive, their Performance 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, and that electric motor, oh my God. I mean, this is clearly not gonna be like Lucid Air Sapphire or Tesla Model S Plaid fast, but we are again at the peak of internal combustion power here, and with the addition of the plug-in hybrid aspect, this is exactly why AMG decided to add it, because it's necessary. You need to get more power from an electric motor if you're gonna, step it up, kick it up to the next level. Now, I'm trying to get my my bearings straight here because my brain is just so much face-distorting thrust. Now, here in race mode, the car has an adaptive air suspension. I also really like the fact that you have these active seat contours where if I turn left or right, it actually will inflate the bolster on that specific side to hold you in place even more aggressively. The ride quality in this car on these 21-inch wheels is definitely sports car firm. This is definitely not what I would say luxury car supple. Buy an E63S if you want a little bit of a softer ride, or an S63. You can also get it in the E-Performance, but this is supposed to be the ultimate super sedan that's basically just a four-door version of the AMG GT two-door, although technically they're not built on the same chassis, which is interesting. They're actually two completely different models. This car also includes rear-wheel steering, so when I turn the car, even though this is a big vehicle, it actually feels a lot more nimble than its size would suggest because of the four-wheel steering aspect. This car also gives you the ability to drive on electric power, which I'll try that in just a moment. But before we do that, I want to test out one more time to see if we can get slightly faster than 2.7 seconds, because I think we can. I think the first launch, it didn't quite launch quite as hard. But again, to activate launch control, it's very easy to do. Just brake torque it. 2.74 there, so I'll take that as the best time, or technically it was 2.73. Oh my goodness. Wow, that is just so stupid fast. Absolutely crazy, batshit crazy. Now I'm gonna switch the drive mode here out of the race mode because I do wanna see if I can get this car to drive in pure electric power. Now I've been driving it in, here we go, now it's in pure electric power. Now when it's in this mode, this car gives you up to, at least the trip computer on a full charge is showing 9 miles of electric-only range. Remember, this car's battery pack is designed to discharge and recharge very quickly. In fact, if you drive it in race mode, Mercedes-AMG says you can actually fill the battery to completely a full charge in around 10 minutes, which is kind of crazy to think. It's kind of similar to the Corvette E-Ray, where if you push a button, you can actually recharge the battery very fast. But again, in pure electric mode, you only have 201 horsepower, so that's something to keep in mind. But the other great thing is the electric powertrain offers a 2-speed automatic in the back. It has its own unique transmission. It makes some interesting electric motor sounds as well, which I kind kind of dig it. It feels like a full EV, and you know what? It actually has enough power to feel peppy in most day-to-day driving. Now, obviously, it makes a fake electric motor sound that's, I believe, amplified from the real electric motor sound. As I go around corners here, the steering in this car is nice and quick and direct. It feels sporty. It feels like a sports car, which I appreciate. It just feels very planted. The suspension also, and even in comfort mode here, it feels really soft, but it also feels like playful. This car is a 5,200 pound four-door sedan that you can feel the weight of the thing, but it's surprisingly supple. Now, the sad thing is you can theoretically drive up to 84 miles an hour in pure electric mode in this vehicle. And I do want to see if I can try to get a 0 to 60 time in pure EV mode. It's not quite easy to do because if you push the accelerator pedal a little too hard, it will wake up the gas engine. But let's go ahead and just try it here real quick and see what we can get. All right, my foot is still to the floor, but not past the click point. 0 to 60 in 8.18 seconds there. That's actually not bad. I was expecting it to be over 10 seconds, but remember, this only has 201 horsepower max in this mode, and you're still moving around a 5,200 pound vehicle. So that's why I was basically saying in pure EV mode, it actually gives you enough power to drive in pure EV mode and do it decently well. It doesn't feel terribly slow. But then, of course, if you get bored with that, you can easily just go into the Sport Plus or Race setting and then and listen to that lovely V8 make all of its noises. Now, the other great thing about the electric part is if there's any turbo lag with the V8, the electric motor fills in the gaps and it just feels so incredibly fast. So that's one of the reasons why AMG, again, went to this plug-in hybrid powertrain, which just makes everything, you know, take it up to the next level. Now, in terms of the electric-only range, this car is only rated at 1 mile of pure electric-only range. In my actual testing, I got 5 miles in, you know, really nice 80-degree temperatures. That was in mostly city driving. So 5 miles obviously is not great, but Mercedes-AMG will gladly sell you an S-Class plug-in hybrid, a GLE plug-in hybrid. Those will do around 40 to 50 miles of electric-only range. This is all about performance. It's not about really electric-only driving, although you can. It surprisingly drives really nicely in pure electric mode. It just only gives you 5 miles of electric-only range. Now, in terms of fuel efficiency, this car is rated at 25 mpge when you have the battery charged. That number means nothing to me. 18 is the combined rating when the battery is discharged. Technically, this car's computer won't let the battery dip below 25%, so you have maximum power available anytime you need it, because remember, this is all about performance. In my week's worth of testing, I actually averaged around 17.5 mpg in mixed driving, which is fine. It's not great. It's pretty similar, of course, to its competitors that are non-hybrids. What this plug-in hybrid powertrain essentially allows you to do is avoid the gas guzzler tax that other rivals will get hit with. Because this is electrified, you don't have to pay that gas guzzler tax, and you get basically the same MPG with an additional 200 horsepower. So that's the reason why, again, you buy the plug-in hybrid aspect, and you also, you know, can enjoy the fact that you get instantaneous power when you put your foot down. This thing is just so unbelievably fast. I have to admit, guys, I was skeptical about the e-performance, you know, moniker and the, you know, complicated nature of it. But when you start driving it around in regular driving, it feels like a regular everyday performance car that's just so incredibly fast. It negates any lag that you would get from the transmission, from the engine. This 9-speed, by the way, is relatively smooth shifting, although it does have some jerkiness at low speeds. That's where, if you drive it in pure EV mode, it kind of gets rid of that because of that 2-speed transmission at the back for the electric motor. But overall, for the ultimate driving 4-door super sedan from AMG with the most power they've ever done, it certainly, for me at least, lives up to that reputation. If you guys are looking for something that's gas-powered and electric-powered, you're not ready to make the jump to go to a full EV, this car should definitely make it to the very top of your list. So in my line of work, I get the privilege of being able to drive some incredibly quick cars, and I mean really quick cars. So after spending a week with the ultimate AMG 4-door, the GT63 SE Performance, again, that name is so long, you can actually get to 60 quicker versus actually saying the name in person, which is kind of crazy to think. This vehicle, as you guys saw, with its 831 horsepower, over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, delivers incredible performance. This is now the quickest accelerating gas 4-door that I've ever tested hands down, because this thing will get to 60 in 2.7 seconds. That's when you have it in race start and everything crazy, attack mode. Even in pure electric driving, this car will also get to 60 in a smidge over 8 seconds, which is actually fast enough for most people during your daily driving. I was able to do around 5 to 7 miles of actual all-electric range, so the EPA number of 1 mile is hugely conservative, which is kind of not surprising considering, you know, how they rate things. In terms of the design, this is still an attractive, gorgeous vehicle that just gets attention everywhere, especially in this spec that I'm showing you guys in the olive metallic exterior with the sienna brown interior. The color combination, the color upgrades that you get between the leather and the exterior color is easily over $10,000, and you're going to be, you know, paying for that if you want something that's a little bit more unique. The handling of this car is definitely more on the sportier edge. This actually feels like a four-door sports car. This is the sportiest four-door that you can buy from Mercedes-Benz because, again, the AMG GT, while it is built off of the old E-Class architecture, it has been heavily modified with a unique rear subframe, unique suspension and steering tuning. It feels so much sportier than its size would suggest. You do feel the weight of this car. It certainly is a heavy vehicle, but it also makes up for that with just mind-boggling acceleration. It's just absolutely crazy to me. The interior, unlike the newer Mercedes products, this is built off of, again, a platform that came out back in 2019, so I really appreciate the tech, the interior quality. It doesn't have the squeaks and rattles that I've been noticing in some of the newer Mercedes products, which, again, I really much appreciate. The back seat, I probably would skip the executive rear seat package. It's a tiny back seat, especially considering the size of this vehicle, and it doesn't even include ventilated rear seats and rear sunshades. It should be included at that price tag, so I would probably skip that and just get the 5-seater version as opposed to the 4 captain's chairs or the 2 captain's chairs in the back. In terms of the pricing of this vehicle, this is where things get really expensive if you guys want this car. Now, of course, a regular AMG GT 43, I mean, regular is a relative term, starts at around $98,500. Remember, this is Mercedes' answer to the Porsche Panamera, which starts at over $100,000. This is going to be more expensive than the Audi RS7 and the BMW 8 Series Grand Coupe. You really have to look at an 8 Series M8 or an M8 Grand Coupe competition to even compare, which only compares with the non-S version of this car in the 63 Performance. Now, moving up the ladder is going to cost you a lot. A 53 is going to cost you around $11,000 more at 110 grand. A 63 non-S is around $154,000, which is already really expensive. If you want this model here, the ultimate 4-door AMG, this is going to start at $195,000, just under 195 grand. So it's about $41,000 more to go from a 63 non-S to a 63 SE Performance. That's a huge jump. Now, last year, Mercedes offered an S non-E Performance version of this car, which began at around $170,000. So you're really looking at around a $24,000 price difference. Is it worth that extra charge? That really depends on how much you value speed in this particular segment, because this car here, with all the options that it has an as-tested price of just over $224,000. I know 224 grand was absolutely mind-boggling to me. I thought this car was grossly overpriced until I started looking at the competitive set, because if you want something that has this much power and this much speed, you're really only looking at the Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid. That has around 771 horsepower, so 60 horsepower less than this, almost 300 foot-pounds of torque less than the Mercedes, and that car starts at $226,000. It's a Porsche after all. That still doesn't include all the options. A comparably equipped Panamera Turbo SE Performance is going to cost around $250,000. So it's around 25 grand more versus this car. Now, on the other hand, you could look at a BMW M8 Grand Coupe Competition, which is around $150,000. An Audi RS7 Performance is also around $130,000, $150,000 with options. So really, I don't particularly think this Mercedes is worth an additional 70 grand over a BMW and Audi equivalent, unless, of course, you guys really value that extra speed and the ability to drive on electric power alone. If that is important to you, that's where the Mercedes could be worth that, because again, this is still one of the quickest accelerating gas four-doors that you can buy. But also keep in mind, the electric-only range is about half versus what you're going to get in the Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid. So if you want more electric-only range, the Porsche might be better off for you. But again, you're going to be paying around 25 grand more versus the Porsche, or around 75 grand more versus a non-plug-in hybrid high-performance four-door from Germany. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2024 Mercedes-AMG GT 63 SE Performance. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.